Hey guys, welcome back. It's Elucid, and we're back with the final. I think what will be the final episode of the Machaka series. I'll push through it even if it takes us like 40 minutes. Shango has cast Ethergate, which is going to give me some kind of cool dudes. Like this guy, who's pretty cool. He can do air death stuff. Have a Buddha get wrecked by these air elementals. I think he was twice born and probably did Lamashtas, if I had to guess. Yeah. Success. And kill an elf. Killed another elf. Feels okay, man. I love dead elves, guys. I love them. Bunch of diseases spreading events. Yeah, and the elves have kind of buggered off. We're going to go hit this. These guys are actually really good against the air elementals, too. One of the reasons I got them. And then... I think I'm not... If the elves want to just sit here and hit in turn, I'm not going to poke them too much, but we'll see. If they keep fighting us, we'll keep killing their shit. I would like to instead, where I can... Oh, did we miss a battle here? I stormed this. I got this thrown back from TNC. I would like, where I can, because I don't think the TNC thrones are going to be required for the monkey victory. I want to keep the pressure on... I don't think the TNN thrones are going to be necessary for the monkey victory. I think the TNC ones will. So I'm going to keep the pressure up on TNC so they can get nice and fucked by yours truly before the monkeys come in and take their shit. There's still a little bit of Rusian stuff hiding out, but it's mostly conquered by the monkeys now. I think he's got a couple of forts left. But the other thing is he doesn't even have to really finish off Rus. Rus is pretty much dead. He could come over here and just try to go for monkey or for TNC thrones. We'll see what he does. 63, and there were probably some battles I might have missed. Did we already do this one? I think that's Ravenous Swarm. Another dead elf. Oh, I love it. We lost a few Ether Warriors, but we killed this dude. Feels okay. I got some mirror armors. Breach the entrance to Helheim, so we'll be taking that back shortly. We got Shango going inside with some dude with probably some Earth Elementals. And, yeah. I think movement to slow down the elves, I think after that message, and they realized I'm not trying to win. And I think they realize that all of my actions indicate I don't give a fuck about winning. I just care about them losing. And the elves realizing also that they have completely ruined their position by suiciding shit into me for 40 turns or 30 turns. I think they're content to hit in turn until the monkeys win. Because there's nothing they can do to win. They have basically lost themselves the game and probably taken me down with them. So that's turn 63, turn 64. A Dire Portent. I don't think that's us. I guess that's Rus? Who knows? Kailasa sending us some gems. They probably by this point paid us back actually for what we've sent them. But they also know that we're very good at spending gems to kill their enemies for them. And yeah, here we storm the gates of Helheim. Shango doing some serious work. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. So now we basically return to original borders with almost everybody. I think the elves picked up a couple territories that were once mine, which I would have been happy with them having these and more. They could have had better borders than this with just being nice at the beginning. And we've taken this from them. I don't know if we're going to keep coming back. You can see we're not really interested in poking the elves. I've put a ton of time into this game so far in terms of scripting to make sure we win as many of the important battles as we could to fuck our enemies. I kind of at this point don't want to put a ton of effort into it anymore. It's been stressful fighting the 3v1. It's still in it. I'm not at peace with anybody. But I kind of don't want to put a lot more time in it. And I think the monkeys have it. So I think we're going to be looking for an opportunity to use Shango. But I'm not sure where that will be. And I also would like to take this throne from TNG. That would also be great. So that's 64. 65. We've empowered him in air. And I guess that's to do Wailing Winds and shit, or Wind of Death. We were unsuccessful here. I think this is an air elemental attack. We killed one of them. The Creeping Doomcaster we couldn't quite get to fast enough. Have a new prophet. And yeah, you can see that there's not a ton of action here at the end. I'm not sure what TNG's doing. And I think we're down to like the last turn or two. TNG's attacking. Rolling out with their Army of the Heavens. Their Wraith Lord comes and attacks. TNG, only one turn before the game ends, decides they're going to all-in me because they have such a poor understanding of the game state that the monkeys are about to win. Just mindlessly attacking me like a freaking AI. And what's beautiful about it is they get fucking wrecked. AI bot destroyed. It was at some great cost, but I don't give a fuck. That was kind of good battle. Feels okay. Anyway, a little bit of rating, so they get a bit of territory. I'm pretty sure we're going to send Shango over here if we can. And continue to raid some of this stuff. I can't remember if which throne the monkeys are going for this turn, but I know they're going for one of them. Let's take a quick look at thrones. They've got 4. They need one more. I forget which one they're going to get. It may be the TNN one. I think it's a TNG one, though. I think the last turn is right here. Blitz of Real Gun. Let's see what turn this is. Another spell went up. Okay, they attack again here. TNG mindlessly grinding into me. And we murder their shit again. Murder more of their shit here. Oh, I guess we actually had to back off some here. I don't know what happened. Let's see what turn this is. Oh, this is 67, so this is the last turn. I think I'm going to go pause and double check, make sure we don't have one more turn. Because nobody has ascended. Oh no, but this one's been taken by the monkeys, the Throne of Air. Do we not have... Let me check. All right, and I did manage to find the final turn. And my final proclamation as the game ends, death to the gangbangers. The elves riding out for a final fight, and TNG getting the last of his armies ground into a pulp as he attacks the wrong player. As he attacks the wrong player, blind into the end. Truly Papeg. Loses all his shit. Doesn't get anything out of the war that I didn't give him for free by the end. The elves took a couple provinces in the very last turn, as I knew it was ending. You know, who cares about defending? They weren't attacking. Yeah. Yeah, they got fucking wrecked. Let's look at the score graph. So, yeah, at the end, we got all the battles. We killed this huge TNT stack. Get wrecked. I killed some PD. What was this over here? A bunch of garbage? Yeah. Okay, let's look at the score graphs. So I was pretty salty about this game because I didn't really have... I think it's kind of funny coming back and casting it too, or like, I don't know, doing these last turns long after the fact. I kind of got back into it of like, God, I'm so angry with these people. But we'll take a look at this. First of all, let's get the people who lost the first wars out of the game, or out of this window. Okay, so it's kind of a lot to look at here, but I kind of want to make it simpler and have fewer lines. So this is the point when Sarmatia attacked me, and I was like, there were a bunch of us, at least 4 that were basically tied for the same position. And then once they have all into me, this is Sarmatia. You can see they were in position 1 for a good while. Once they have all into me and it fails and they lose all their shit, I get really big. This was probably a mistake. I think, I don't know what I should have done, but I needed to find people to vulture them with me. I probably could have just left them live. That would have been fine. But I was hoping some of these guys would get big with me, and then it would have been all fine. Anyway, but you can see there was an issue to maybe deal with me around here. So some of this was my misplay. But I was very open to shedding land, I think. But not as open as I should have been. Like the offer to secede Helheim, I think was very reasonable and I should have done it. I think some of it was the way it was done. I could have been talked into it. Then, yeah, so Russ gains a little bit. Who's Russ attacking to gain this stuff from? This is Rus, right? Yeah. Who are they gaining this from? So this is when the coalition really starts right here. I think I did give Rus a couple provinces. Maybe not. Basically, very quickly into the coalition, there's like 3 of us that are all tied. And after this point in the game, I think this line is the monkeys. Yeah, after this point, once the monkeys start killing Rus, they're in position 1, and that's going to stay that way for the rest of the game. Rus did have a bit of a resurgence right here, where you can see the monkey graph dip, where he came back up. I don't know exactly how this happened. I was actually worried. I didn't talk about it much, but I was worried at the end that the monkeys wouldn't be able to do it, and that I was going to have to actually go try to win the game, which I didn't really want to do. I kind of just wanted these guys to lose. Winning the game would have been a lot more effort. And I had told them, I would also mean somehow me backing out on what I had said, because I told the monkeys I'm not trying to win. Anyway, I'm happy they could pull it off. But by the end, we were actually still in a pretty good position. We were in position 2, tied with TNT. But TNT, army size-wise, had gotten pretty fucked. Gym income, we were probably position 1 a lot of the game. Yeah, we had phenomenal. I've never been this lucky on site searching. It's kind of ridiculous. And if little things had gone different, like if Shengo hadn't died in a lot of the times we used him, and every time he died, it was like, not every time, most every time he died, it was like super close. It's like him chasing one idiot across the field with rigor mortis up. So, I don't know. I probably, if I used them a ton more, I would probably figure out better ways to use them and keep him from getting cheesed like that. But that's a risk with a mindless chassis, is kind of the thing. TNG by the end got some good income. If only they could have converted that into making good plays. Their army size got freaking wrecked at the end. And they were YOLOing in to attack me, as they had been doing nonstop for most of the game. But, yeah. I had told the player, too, that I'm not going to be able... Like, the amount of fucking I'm going to give you in this game is not going to be enough. I'm going to have to hit you up in the next game. I was pretty salty that I gave him tons of territory. Like, if we look at the territory graph, he got like 50% bigger just from shit I gave him for free from the Sarmatia spoils. And then he turns around and attacks me. It was kind of a dick thing. And I should have asked for an app, so some of it was on me again, but I don't know. It's actually kind of funny, because by the time you've watched this, I've already paid him back for it in another game. And by that point, I will consider the debt paid. Because I do think after this game, there was a debt to fuck him. And I would say, based on the other thing that happened, he's been served now. But yeah, you can see I was just super salty. I think part of it, though, is... And it's so weird going back because as I stepped away from the game and was, like, thinking about it, there are lessons you learn, right? And the lessons you learn, if you're good, aren't just primarily this player's bad or evil and this player's bad and evil, which is how I'm talking about it now, which is what's funny. But the lessons I learned from this game actually are you need to be careful in how big you get. If you get too big too fast... which is not I mean, obviously I know that. But what happened is, I think the only move I could make when people would not join me in vulturing was to just let a completely dead nation live. He literally, Sarmatia had lost his entire fucking army. Right? He was completely dead. This was all of his sacreds. All the stuff that was left was like a bit of his mages and some chaff. He had lost literally everything. His god. I think a move was just let him live. It'd be like, okay, the other thing I could have done was talk him out of it. I didn't want to talk him out of it because I knew I could kill his army. But I could have been like, dude, if you conquer me, you'll be too big. I don't think he would have. That would have. If somebody was going to do that move, that would not have talked them out of it. In no way, shape, or form would that have talked them out of it. So that's not realistic. But they would have been kind of in the same problem I was in. If they conquered me, then they would have been big and people would have eaten them. Like, turned on them. I think I should have just probably let them live and say, okay, you failed. Now you get to be a weak, friendly neighbor. So that was, I think, the thing I learned. The other thing I learned was I probably should have paid off Rus with Helheim. They were my partner in that war. It made total sense to give them Helheim, and it was a reasonable request from him with me getting this big. So I should have done that, I think. That was a major... How he asked me I didn't like, because it was filled with this bravado and like I'm gonna screw you and all of this sort of thing, like we're coalitioning you, and he didn't even seem like he really wanted it. So I don't know, but some of that's me just being like whatever after the fact. In truth, it's my fault. I should have taken him up on this offer for giving him Helheim and probably a few other provinces too. In exchange for a long-term non-aggression pact. I think that was something that was in the cards. It was something that he offered, even not the non-aggression pact stuff, and who knows how much other stuff he would have wanted. But I think I fucked that part up pretty bad. Though I will say, in the end, I was right that I did get to choose who won the game, and I definitely made sure it was not him. As we can see from the fact that he got pretty much fucked out of the game. So it didn't work out great for him either. So, yeah, on one hand, those were, I think, the lessons to learn, which is you don't, just because you've beaten somebody in the field doesn't mean it's the right thing to actually go occupy their lands. That's one learning. The other one is, don't get so filled with bravado and machismo or whatever that you miss a good deal. And this deal with Roos was a reasonable one. It made sense. I needed to shed land. I didn't want to shed the land. I think some of it was like a mental block. I wanted to shed Sarmatia land. I didn't want it all. But I didn't really want to shed my other land, like the things that I had considered mine. And humans are kind of like that. Humans have it in their head that, like, once they have something, it's of more value. There's like weird psychological studies where you ask people how much they like a painting and they're like, yeah, it's okay. But then they take it home with them if they like win it. And then you say, like, how much would it cost for us to like buy it back from you? And they give a much higher number. And I know I said this a little wrong, but they give a much higher number about how much it would cost to take it away than how much they would pay for it in the first place. So it's basically an idea of, like, it's similar to like loss aversion, where people are they don't want to lose things they've already gotten. They're much more sensitive to losing things they've already gotten than they are to like buying new things. So basically I had that mental switch. And I mean, there's some reasons for it in Dominions, like you'd have to rebuild your temples and stuff, but those are like whatever. I didn't want to give up land that I had already had. I only wanted to give up land that I was going to get. And I should have given up Helheim, which was land that I already had, to Roos. I should have just gotten it, because the problem was, because I was mostly focused on giving up the Sarmatian land, this stuff, none of this stuff was really on the border with Roos. So the only player who was open to diplomacy, they didn't neighbor any of the assets I was willing to shed. That's kind of what the problem was. And so I had to get over that mental block of like, okay, I can shed this land, but I can't shed this land. I needed to get over that and just be like, this is a good deal. And I buy these guys off, and then we could have potentially been friendly. So that's my second big learning. But what's funny in all of this is, like, as time grew from the game and I reflected on it, I was like, these are the things that I did wrong. And it was like very focused. It was like introspective. It was focused on me. Coming back through and cat, like, doing these turns again, it's just filled again with salt and venom and anger. At like T and Chi for just mindlessly attacking me the whole time. Though I guess it kind of worked out for him. He's up a bit of territory. But I mean, he lost basic. In no way did the little territory he got from me net that I didn't give him for. A lot of this territory I gave him for free, right? This was all shit I gave him for free. This stuff here and onwards, he was probably up net about this much, like 3 or 4 provinces. He paid out the asshole for those 3 or 4 provinces, guys. Like, so much. Everything that every other province had made all game, he paid for these 3 provinces. It's not a good deal for him. But I was super salty about that, about how he basically backstabbed me as the last one, and I'd given him a ton of free shit. I don't know. All these things are things like when I come back and look at the turns again, I focus on, which I don't love. It's a lot of negative energy, but there's a ton of negative energy for me with this game. Yeah, a ton of negative energy. The monkeys sitting there not doing anything, and they're the ones I have to king make. That didn't feel great. But you know, the sub for the monkey player came in, and he really was trying to figure out how to do stuff to win. And so, yeah, he did do a good job tying it all to victory. Apparently no one even paid attention while he was doing it. You know, the elves basically just gave up, as they should have, because they were dead. And TNG, the only other really big player, was like, oh, let's kill Lucid at the end. Okay, we killed... I mean, there was so much catharsis in different parts of this, though. Like, killing all the TNG armies felt really good. Where is it? This felt real good. Killing all these felt super good. Yeah, there's some catharsis there. if I knew the monkeys weren't going to win, I might have tried to organize a plan better to go out and kill Tianchi. That would have been great. Really kick him in the nuts hard. But I didn't really care. I knew the monkeys were going to win, and I didn't want people to have a lot of territory at the end. I tried to keep them from raiding. I wanted them to like feel it, you know? But I didn't really feel the need to organize an expedition to try to conquer them. So, yeah. In terms of research, we'll look at that. This is us. We're pretty low in research. We're fine, but once the war started, our mages were doing things other than researching, which is why we survived. Gym income, we were good. Income, one thing that would have really helped is that if I had Conjuration 5 earlier. My Conjuration 5 timing really hurt. Yeah, income, we were fine. Gym income, we were fine. Forts, we were fine. Dominion, we were really low. Army size, we were fine. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess in summary, this was an extremely salty game for me. I did not enjoy it at all. It probably made me age a little faster. I have since hit back both the guy who was subbing for... These guys actually were in a team in another game, and I made sure we knifed them really early. And so anyway, I'll consider that retribution. And the slate can be clean. Because at some point you have to be willing to wipe your slate clean. Otherwise you carry around too many grudges. But I feel like you got to carry around a little bit of grudges sometimes. But I don't know. I'll try not to be overwhelmed by it. Slate's clean now. But you'll be seeing on YouTube at some point probably when we fuck them. As payback. But yeah, thanks for everybody being in the game. It was probably stressful for y'all. I know when I'm stressed, I probably make people around me stressed because, I mean, when people do basically things that give neither of us a chance to win, I usually don't like it. So I guess you could say I was doing the same thing for them. And but I switched though. Like at the beginning, I was super open to diplomacy. I mean, even for a while into the coalition, if anybody wanted to make peace with me or come to terms, I was interested. However, as it progressed and I eventually, sent the monkeys a ton of my gems and et cetera, basically switched into king-making mode. Part of switching into king-making mode meant becoming obstinate to peace. And that was because I don't really want to win anymore. I just want to make sure they lose. But it took a long time and a lot of stubborn-headedness on their side to get me to that point. But by the time I got there, there was probably no getting me out of it. But yeah. Yeah, thanks for everybody who stuck through this game. It was probably painful for almost everybody involved except the monkeys, who had a nice, peaceful ride while they sat here and built up huge economy while everybody was fighting me, and then they came in to win. So, yeah. There's one more thing I want to say, too, which is some of this frustration is actually just the dynamics of playing on a small map. Because there were only, 9 players. And with 9 players, especially after First Wars, there's not that many players left. There's only 5 or 6 important players. And there weren't really many people to backstab a coalition. And that was one of the worst things that you get. Normally in a game, if people fail, if people all in somebody and fail, other people will be more than happy to step in and take their territory from them. And that just wasn't the case here for the most part, except for the monkeys. So it's one of the reasons I don't like playing on this small of a game. I think 9-player games have a kind of bad dynamic like that, where you can get basically stable coalitions, which can just exist in perpetuity because there's nobody to backstab them. And no matter what you do, if you're successful in fighting off the coalition, it's just further proof that the coalition should exist, and then they strengthen themselves. And of course, if you lose to the coalition, then great, the coalition wins. So either way, the coalition kind of wins. And it's like this weird stable configuration that the game gets in, but it only happens kind of in these low player settings. So I'm probably never going to do a 9-player game again if I can help it. Probably just having 12 players makes a big difference in terms of some of the diplomacy, stability states and stuff. But yeah, anyway, good game to everybody who was in the game. I know I was super salty, called people names in the video, which I think is right. In the sense that, like, that's how I was feeling at the time. So I don't feel the need to shelter you guys from all the salt and venom I was feeling. People doing stupid shit, like all-inning me while the monkeys are about to win. I don't have any problem calling that stupid shit. As we kill all their armies. So... yeah, I was pretty salty about a bunch of things, and you get to see how I actually felt. That's kind of just the naked truth of it. I don't necessarily recommend you be salty or angry. It's probably not good for your mental health. And probably not terribly great for your Dominions play. But monkeys, cheers to you. Good job winning. Everybody else in the game, thank you for suffering through this with me. And to all the viewers... yeah, thanks for suffering through the Salt Fest too. We'll see you. The next series to go up will almost certainly be the squids. So we finally play our nemesis. And if there's anything I have learned from fighting the squids for all these years, it is how to play them. And so you'll see that in the next series, which is also going to be Trailer Park Boys inspired. And if you can guess how, then points to you. So, see you guys then. Take care.